Leaving Buena Vista, the weather looked less than lovely. On the way back up to the pass, we were grateful to be in the cab of a pickup truck for once instead of the bed. But once we started walking, the weather was surprisingly nice. Overcast, but no downpours. Our goal was to get as close to Lake Ann Pass as possible and potentially even climb over if the weather cooperated. It turned out to be a fairly wet afternoon for more reasons than just the weather. We had our first real water crossings, and the river was running pretty deep. However, it wasn't something that we couldn't handle, and we all crossed safely.
Don't know if you can tell, this is all hail. It's officially summer in Colorado.
When we reached the last campsite before going over, there was a definite weather window, so we took advantage. Lake Ann Pass was the last snow traverse we heard might give us some trouble, but we'd also heard we might be able to glissade all the way down. When we got there, we saw that there definitely wasn't enough snow to glissade, but luckily it was soft enough for us to kick in steps, and we slowly descended the snow wall that certainly would have given us some trouble in icier conditions. We got to camp shortly after the sunset, and after Nanners scared off something rustling in the woods, we attempted to get some sleep.
So we did like 18 miles yesterday to get up and over Lake Ann Pass, which went well. Didn't get to camp though until like 9 p.m. So didn't get to bed till like 10:30. So I was pretty tired this morning and I slept in. I didn't leave camp till like 8:40. Kids like probably an hour or so, maybe a little more ahead of me. We're getting into Twin Lakes today. We only have like 15 miles with a shortcut that we know about, so it's a pretty chill day. We might go a little farther after. I think I might want to get to the base of Mount Massive because I think I want to climb that tomorrow.
The first few miles were very easygoing, a deceitful precursor of what was to come. I'd heard about the climb up Hope Pass for weeks leading up to it. Before climbing 2,400 feet and over 2.3 miles, I decided to stop for lunch. Once I was adequately caloried up, I was ready to take on my personal goal of not stopping for a break the entire way up the pass. I stopped for a deep breath on a few switchbacks, but for the most part, maintained my resolve. Once I reached the top, I was greeted by day hikers and impressed with their seeming indifference to the intense wind on the other side. Twin Lakes, a place I'd camped many times in the 2 years leading up to my hike, awaited me on the descent. The familiarity combined with the downhill grade and the knowledge that Kid was already enjoying all the general store had to offer propelled me forward. While we'd planned to just stop for some food and to supplement our resupply, things never go according to plan with Kid involved. He somehow persuaded a local Airbnb owner to let us pay cash to stay at his place, and with a little convincing, we got Nurse and Nanners to join us. Leaving Twin Lakes, we had a quick breakfast and loitered a little longer at the general store. Eventually, we left for the longest day of the year. I'd played with the idea of climbing Mount Massive, just a short 3.6 miles and 3,400 feet of gain off trail, but didn't decide to for sure until our first break. Kid and Nanners decided to use the extra daylight to do a big push to Leadville instead. Each of us on a mission, we parted ways after lunch. I got to the junction for Mount Massive around 4 p.m. and figured I still had plenty of daylight to get up and back down.
So we left Twin Lakes around 11 a.m. today, and I decided I want to climb Mount Massive, so doing an out and back right now. Got some nice people at the junction to watch my stuff, so no critters or humans get to it. And yeah, I'm about 0.9 in, point something, no, 0.7 in. Hoping I can do a round trip. It's about 3.5 miles and like 3,400 feet. So I'm hoping I can do it fairly quick. Longest day of the year. I should have sunlight the whole time. It's like 4:20 right now. Let's go.
The climb was beautiful, and the very top was even a bit scrambly.
That's the summit right there. It's a little scrambly, so Not gonna have the camera out. But let's go, final push. Thought this was the summit, but now that I'm here, I can tell it's back there. Still a little bit more to go, but doing pretty good. Woo!
There were some false summits, so I tagged them all just to be safe. I had the second tallest mountain in Colorado all to myself that evening, unless you count the marmots. And it was one of those moments where I just became overwhelmingly thankful that I played my cards in a way that put me right there, right at that moment. After the descent, I took advantage of the extra daylight and pushed a few more miles to camp, camping alone for the first time on the CDT. The next day, I was up and moving around 8. I knew Kid was bringing me Subway and tampons from Leadville, so that motivated me to cruise through the 20-ish miles to meet him at Tennessee Pass. When I finally reached the pass, we hiked another 4 miles to camp.
So yesterday, I hiked alone most of the day because when I went to climb Massive, Kid wanted to do a big day, so he went almost all the way to Leadville, did like a 31-mile day, and had about 3 left to the pass the next morning. So I had about 22 miles after my day yesterday to catch him. And so I had a pretty cruisy day alone, leapfrogged with some nice folks, and overall enjoyed it. And he brought me Subway back from town, which was awesome. And then we did about 4 more miles to camp last night. And woke up this morning, got moving around 7. It was quite cold. It's probably time to delayer because I'm about to start a massive climb, and then we'll descend into Copper, and we'll probably have a late lunch or early dinner there, and then maybe do a couple more miles before bed so that we can get into Breck at a good time tomorrow to meet up with our friends.
After passing through Camp Hale, which was designated as a National Historic Site a few months later, we had a huge climb up the back of Copper Mountain, a ski resort we'd frequented during our time in Denver. The climb is several miles long, with the usual several thousand feet of game, but the pull of town kept me moving. Once over Kokomo Pass and Elk Ridge, we meandered above treeline and down to Surly Pass. There may be a ton of hard climbs in Colorado, but I was always rewarded with spectacular natural beauty, and usually marmots too. It rained some on the descent, but not enough to really matter.
This is a good example of the aftermath of an avalanche. Lots of downed trees.
I started to walk across ski slopes I spent multiple winter days on 2 years ago, and marveled at how wild it was that I walked to them all the way from Mexico. I met Kid and Switch for pizza and beer before the skies absolutely opened up. Thunder boomed and rain fell in droves, and luckily Switch set us up to stay with one of his friends so we could stay dry for the night. After a night of sleep on the comfiest pull-out mattress I've ever experienced, we woke up early-ish to take the free bus to Breckenridge so we could slackpack south. We left most of our smelly gear behind and started the 19-mile section nice and light. The climb from Gold Hill Trailhead started right away, and even with light packs, I was still breathing heavy. Towards the top of the climb, we ran into quite a bit of snow. It was only then that I realized descending a north-facing slope would have probably been easier than ascending it, but it was too late. Also about this time was when clouds started to roll in, and, of course, the trees started to thin. I tried to kick it into gear so I could beat the storm up and over the pass, but climbing uphill at 10,000 plus feet is not something I'm easily able to do at higher speeds. Getting hailed on is usually a good accelerator though, and before long I was at the top. The hail turned to rain as I heard thunder in the distance. Luckily, the cloud-emitting nightmare noises seemed pretty far away. I gave up on running for a bit and thought I could probably bail to the Breck ski lifts for shelter in a worst-case scenario. But now that I was going downhill, I hoped Treeline would offer enough shelter soon. Our friend Caroline was waiting for us in the Copper parking lot, and we couldn't be more excited for 2 days off with friends. We spent the next 2 days resting, eating, and enjoying great company. We even went for a float on our friend DJ's new raft and brought 12 to the boat. I had 3 on, but didn't bring any in. I did get to try rowing for a bit though, and confirmed I've got a lot to learn about both that and fly fishing. It's hard to describe how much the support of friends means on a journey like this, but just know no through hiker gets through an entire trail purely on their own.
River Uber's coming. Did you guys pay ahead of time or? We're over here.
I don't think we have your credit card information.
You guys have